make sure to hit that subscribe button. And before we dive straight into the video, I am a basically mermaid out of water. I know I used this as like a fairy costume, but it was actually like my mermaid costume, and I know that I don't really have a tail, but that's why it's out of water. I have my mermaid crown. But before we get into the video, I do want to announce the Mermazing Mermaid of the Week, and that is Nevia Lopez. Congratulations on winning the Mermazing Mermaid of the Week. You definitely deserve it. Thank you so much for subscribing to my channel and watching my videos and just being you. So congratulations again, and if you want to win next week's Mermazing Mermaid of the Week title shout out, then all you have to do is subscribe to my channel, like my videos, and you can either comment down below on one or any of my videos, or you can also, to increase your chances of winning, you can also share my videos and tag me in it on Instagram, just so I know that you did it and you're one step closer to winning. So we are going to dive right into this urban legend. Now, about 100 years ago, an old German man decided to take a shortcut back to his house on a cold day during the winter in Wisconsin. The shortcut was over the mud lake, which was frozen near Cascade, Wisconsin. Now, he knew that walking across this lake might not be safe, but he was so cold and he didn't think that he could make it going around the lake. So to distribute the weight more, he got off of his cart and led the horse by its rein across the frozen surface. He calmed the horse and stepped slowly and carefully across. He heard the horse's hoofs clop across the ice, and he winced as it echoed in the air around him. Another sound suddenly occurred beneath their feet as the ice flexed, cracked, and gave way. The ice broke beneath the cart, and the cart ended up sinking into the freezing water. He tried pulling on his rein, but the weight was way too much, and it dragged his panicked horse underneath the water. As the old man struggled to save his belongings and his horse, he too was pulled underneath the water, and they all sank beneath the surface, never to be seen alive again. Today, it's said that on that lake, on a cold winter night, that you may see him replaying his mistake of crossing that lake and being pulled into the water. So that's just one ghost story, you guys, out of multiple that surround the mud lake. And it's really sad because, you know, he was just so cold, and that's the only reason why he took that risk. But I mean, I do have to give him props for trying to save his horse. But let's dive into another one. Now, Chambers Island is the largest of the islands in the waters of Green Bay. It sits roughly 7 miles northwest of Fish Creek. Now, the lighthouse on the island stands on the northwest shoreline. 8 lighthouse keepers had populated the island before they automated the lighthouse functionality in 1958, including the first keeper, Lewis Williams, his wife, and their 11 children. I'm sorry, I can't imagine having I love kids. Love kids. I can't imagine having 11 children, but that's just me. In 1976, former Coast Guard boat captain Joel Blahnik and his wife Mary were reported as caretakers to reverse the building's 20-year decline. Now, strange events happened the very first night that Joel and his son stayed there. After a day of hard work, Joel and his son settled in on the first floor in sleeping bags to go to sleep. Joel got startled awake, and then he realized that he was awakened by the sound of someone on the stairs from the upstairs lantern room. His eyes darted around him. The sound of the footsteps were clearly human, yet him and his 9-year-old son were the only humans on the island. His son was sleeping deeply nearby, so there was no way that it was him. He heard the steps go down the hall and into the living room, and then into the kitchen. The steps seemed to be heading to the outside door, and sure enough, he heard the sound of the door click shut as it closed. The ghost seemed to always reappear every first night that Joel returned to the lighthouse in the spring to open it. Many visitors claim to hear footsteps echoing in the empty building and sensing an unearthly presence. In 1979, caretakers seemed to notice tools disappearing and then turning up again in extremely unlikely places. The experiences were never malevolent, but they were rather playful and friendly. Over time, Joel began to believe that the ghost was the first lighthouse keeper, Lewis Williams. In 1987, a group of local nuns from a local Catholic retreat took a tour of the lighthouse and were told tales of the nighttime hauntings. One of the nuns were so troubled by the tales that she walked to the outside southwest corner of the building, placed her hands on the tower, and prayed. After that, the footsteps stopped, and the playful haunting seemed no more. The thing is, you guys, when something like prayer really affects a spirit, it's not, I feel like it's more so malevolent. Like, maybe she did just pray for the spirit to be at rest, but without knowing her exact prayer, it's kind of hard to say if this spirit was actually Lewis Williams or if it was something much darker. Now, in 1877, this area was known as Mud Bay, named for the mud at the bottom of the bay that actually enables the ships to securely anchor during storms. Mud Bay was heavily wooded. Lumber was very popular, and men would venture into the woods to harvest the timber. It was hard and demanding work, but the rewards made it worth it. Now, it was late March, so it was still cold, and the frozen ground was covered in a deep snow. The roads were barely passable trails, wide enough for horses or oxen to pass. Now, James, Katie, and A. Peterson started off early one morning to go out and cut timber. The air was really cold, but in the woods, it always seemed a lot colder, and that's probably just because, there's not as much sunlight hitting. Suddenly, they heard the sound of sleigh bells, which became more distinct as they rapidly approached. Now, this was the only road in the area, and it was a rough logging trail that ended just a little ways beyond them. Now, they were expecting Anderson and Norden with their oxen, but this was not the sound of oxen. It was coming far too fast for the speed that the oxen would have been able to carry. Suddenly, a spirited team of horses appeared. One was jet black, and the other one was pure white. They were attached to a logging sleigh, and a man with a cap appeared. The cap was pulled so low onto his head that they couldn't see any discernible features of the man. When the team drew closer, the driver stopped and shouted 3 times in a language that they didn't understand. Katie thought that maybe the man was lost and had taken a wrong road. In a loud voice, he asked the man where he was going, but the man failed to reply or even acknowledge the 2 lumbermen. Suddenly, the team took off further down the road. Knowing that the road had ended, they were not surprised that the driver and the team returned at a very rapid pace. Peterson stepped into the road, and Katie climbed on some logs to try to get a better look at the man. The wagon was moving so fast that they couldn't get a better view. The men were left standing dumbfounded, like they had no idea what that just was. Within minutes, the oxen team with Anderson and Norden came down the road towards them. When they had told them what had just happened, the response was that nobody had passed them. When they examined the road from end to end, there wasn't even a trace of what had happened. They couldn't find a single track where he had turned around or even possibly had passed the other team. The snow in the woods must have been at least 18 inches deep, which meant that it was impossible for it to leave no trace. The experience made such a deep impression on Peterson. He believed that the sighting was a warning of danger, and he refused to work in the area again. So today, Mud Bay is known as Moonlight Bay and is known as the quiet side of the county, except for when the air is filled with the spectral sounds of sleigh bells. So it's really it definitely makes sense for it to be like a spirit, maybe reliving something, because of the simple fact that it didn't acknowledge the loggers. It simply just it didn't even look at them. It didn't even act like they existed. So I definitely think that it was a spirit, and the fact that it left no trace, not a single trace, you guys. Those are the couple stories that I have for you on Mud Lake. Let me know what you guys think about them down below, and if you guys have ever been there, definitely let me know. Definitely let me know if you guys have had any crazy encounters with spirits. I know I've mentioned this before, but I have an email that is only used for you guys reaching out to me. So if you guys want to check out that email, it is going to be right down below in the description. And if you like this video, definitely give it a big thumbs up. And if you are not subscribed yet, definitely hit that subscribe button. Quickly approaching the end of 31 days of Halloween, and I'm actually really sad that it's ending. But with the way this year has been, I'm looking forward to Christmas, and I'm looking forward to a new year. And congratulations again, Navia, for winning the shout out for the Mermazing Mermaid of the Week. You definitely deserve it. And if you want to win the Mermazing Mermaid of the Week next week, definitely subscribe to my channel, comment down below, and share my videos. And don't forget to tag me on Instagram, because then I know you did it. But I love you guys all so much, and I hope that you have an amazing rest of your day, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye!